Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to welcome you today to this webinar where we'll be showing you how you can connect Capella to IBM ELM. So just before we start, I'm going to introduce myself and Philippe. So I'm Laurent Delaigue. I've been working at Obeo for almost 15 years now. And in the last few years, I've been focusing on our Capella offer. And specifically, I'm currently the product lead of publication for Capella, which we'll be talking about today. Philippe?
Thank you, Laurent. Hello, Philippe. I work as technical expert in Persistent. Persistent is an IBM business partner. And I'm an expert in system and software engineering. I work in that field for many, many years. My current role at Persistent is to support the IBM Engineering Lifecycle Management Solution platform, which is a solution for the provided by IBM for the ELM domain, Application Lifecycle Management.
Let's go over the agenda of this webinar. So after a brief introduction about who we are, we will present the landscape of today's topic, articulated around IBM ELM, Engineering Lifecycle Management, and Capella. Then we will introduce publication for Capella and how this tool makes it possible to bridge IBM ELM and Capella. And since a picture is worth 1,000 words, we will proceed with a live demonstration of a complete use case to illustrate the bridging between IBM ELM and publication for Capella. After this demonstration, we'll do a quick sum up, and then we will be glad to answer your questions and have further discussions if needed. Okay, so first, a quick introduction of Obeo. So at Obeo, we create modeling software for system engineers, software engineers, and domain experts in multiple domains such as energy, transportation, network, digital enterprise, or Internet of Things, for example. Our offer includes ready-to-use software, open source or proprietary, and services to adapt or create tailor-made software to fit your needs. So we have three main offers. The first one is dedicated to system engineering and based on Capella entirely, and we will present that in more detail later, of course. A second offer is dedicated to enterprise architecture based on our solution SmartEA, and a third offer is dedicated to domain engineering for other domains. And this is based on our Obeo Designer, a factory to quickly build your own modeling software. Well, of course, today we will focus on the Capella offer. Philippe?
Okay, Persistent. A few words on my company. Persistent is a software company created in India several decades ago. We are present all over the world, and we provide software development resources and software expertise to clients. IBM is one of our biggest clients. We have more than 2,000 engineers working for IBM. It means that we provide to IBM software development forces and skills for selling, for sales, for support, consulting, and so on. So we, as offers, we support IBM solutions in many domains like cybersecurity, cloud, AI, Internet of Things, etc. And these are focused today on the IBM ELM solution, so for system engineering. I will present the solution in the coming slide. And about ELM, so we support the selling of ELM, and also we provide services, consulting for starting installing the solution at customer sites, and also administrating the solution, the platform, the software once it is deployed. Laurent?
Thank you, Philippe. So a few words about the context of this talk. First of all, Capella. Capella is the leading open source workbench for system engineering modeling. So I'm assuming that most people attending this webinar already know Capella, of course. IBM Engineering Lifecycle Management, or ELM in short, is an integrated set of tools for system engineering, and it covers requirements management, test management, task management, change management, source code management, and so on, everything you could expect from an ALM and the requirement software. Publication for Capella, also called P4C, is an OBU product to expose Capella models in web clients and connect these models to third-party tools. And we'll see in this webinar that the IBM ELM P4C integration enables engineering teams to connect requirements, tests, or tasks, or anything from the IBM ELM world to anything within Capella models, any Capella model elements. So that's just a quick summary of the landscape of tools involved in today's presentation to clarify a bit what we're talking about. Now, Philippe will describe in more details the IBM ELM part.
Yes, okay, IBM ELM. ELM stands for Engineering Lifecycle Management. So it's an comprehensive set of integrated services that support most of the system engineering activities. As you can see on this slide that represent the different services along the traditional V life cycle. We start with requirements, and there is a service called Doors Next. So you will see how, for example, we can connect requirements to model elements. On the descending branch of the V, we have also a tool for design based on UML and SysML. On the ascending branch of the V, we have a service to support the testing activities. It's really important in a system engineering approach. Okay, this tool allows you to specify test, manual and automatic test, and to run test campaigns to collect the results. Everything can be connected to requirements and also design model elements. And we have a fourth service called EWM that supports change management, defect management, ticketing. It's also a ticketing system. It can also be used for software development teams that run Scrum, Agile, or Safe projects. So with that tool, with that service, you can create projects and plan projects according to iterations and sprints, and see how the sprints progress. And there are, of course, some common services for reporting, dashboarding, and traceability all over the V life cycle, and also global configuration, so how to manage consistently requirements, design, test, etc. Laurent.
Okay, thank you, Philippe. I'm going to proceed now with Capella. So first and foremost, Capella is a system modeling workbench that supports a method. That's very important. This method is called Arcadia, and it defines concepts and activities to capture the needs of a set of stakeholders and design solutions to cover these needs. As you probably know, Arcadia is based on 4 main perspectives or layers. The 2 first perspectives are dedicated to capturing the need, and the 2 next layers are dedicated to modeling the solution. So the operational analysis at the top, here in yellow, captures what the users need to accomplish, whereas the second layer, the system layer, introduces the concept of the system to capture what the system has to accomplish to fulfill the user's needs. These 2 layers are so dedicated to understanding and capturing the need. And then once this is done, assuming we are taking a top-down approach, which is not mandatory, the 2 next layers will make it possible to model solutions to fulfill these needs. So the logical architecture will describe how the system should work to fulfill the needs, and the physical architecture will describe how the system not only would work, but how it will be developed and built. So here is for a very quick introduction of Arcadia, the methodology, just to stress out that Capella is really a tool to support this methodology, and that the existence of this methodology is a great added value in Capella. Then the workbench. So Capella is a workbench that not only supports the Arcadia method, but brings a comprehensive and extensible and really field-proven tool to successfully implement this Arcadia methodology in a tool that is robust, efficient, agreeable to use, performant, and well, the tool brings the benefits that are listed on screen. I'm not going to read all of these. That's not really the point today. I'm also assuming that most of you today already know about Capella. If you don't know much about Capella, I suggest you go first to the links listed on this slide, which will provide the best overview you could have in a few minutes about Capella, its ecosystem, its community, and what it can do for you. Okay, so now we could speak about Capella for hours, but that's not the point. So today we are going to focus on publication for Capella. So this is an OBO product that is designed to make it possible to expose Capella models on the web so that these models can be browsed and used by either human actors, human users through a web interface, or applications through an OSLC API, which is what IBM ELM will be using in the demonstration later. The models exposed on the web expose all the information that is stored in the Capella models, so you will be able to access the Capella documentation with the links to diagrams or other model elements within it, the rich text documentation. You will be able to navigate to diagrams, which can be clicked on. So if you click on anything on the diagram, you will be able to navigate to the page that details this element. And you will also be able to access the semantic browser exactly as if you were in Capella, but directly within a web browser without having to install Capella. So that's for the part exposing model to human users who want to browse and read the models without installing or having access to Capella. And for the second part, exposing models so that they can be consumed by third-party repositories or tools through an OSLC API. It's going to be the core of today's webinar with the demonstration, but let's say now that it makes it possible to connect IBM ELM to Capella models so that you can manage fine-grained traceability between your artifacts, requirements, test cases, bugs, change requests, any artifact you have with Capella model elements. So this OSLC API makes it possible to get a digital continuity from your ALM artifacts, requirements, and any other artifacts, I repeat, to any Capella model element. It makes it possible to facilitate the communication and collaboration between teams thanks to this traceability and thanks to the availability of models without having to install Capella. And all that with the benefit that each repository is still responsible for its own data without having to duplicate data. There is no import-export mechanism. There are single and integrated sources of truth. Okay, so, and just to once again be very clear, the tool does not enforce a specific process. It really supports traceability between any artifact in the ALM test case, release, task, change request, issue, requirements, you name it, and anything within the Capella models, diagrams, any concept, any transition, any activity, any component, function, anything. And you have to design the process of how to take advantage of this link capability. Now it's time for the demonstration. Philippe are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so I will turn you into a presenter.
Okay.
And you will be able to share your screen.
Okay. Not yet. Okay, good. Share. Is it okay? Do you see my screen?
Yes, we can see
Okay,
it.
fine. Before starting the demo, I will explain you in a few words what you will see. Okay, so the demonstration will be done in 5 steps. The purpose is we have a project, an ILM project made of a set of requirements, a test plan, and a project set of tasks, and we connect. So these 3 domains are managed by the ELM, IBM ELM solution. I will explain that later here. And we have connected this ELM project, or we have incorporated into this ELM project, the Capella model. So first step, I will show you the current content of this project. Then from that stage, we will implement a requirement. We'll choose a requirement in the requirement set, and we'll implement this requirement into the model. Then we will update the links to have a consistent traceability. Step 3. Step 4, we will update the test plan and run between quotes virtually the test campaign to get information, to get result for the validation of the implementation of this requirement. And we'll conclude at stage 5 on how can we, I will show you different views and different exports that are available from the solution to show traceability, connecting requirement, test, model elements, and task. Right? Okay. So we start with the beginning. So stage 1, step 1. So this is my project. So for those who are not familiar with ELM solution, so you have different domains, so requirements, test, task, and reporting. I have opened the requirement document. So this is our set of requirements. We have an input to this development project. Okay, so it's like a Word document, I would say, and we can have additional information that are captured through formally defined attributes. And we have, since we have already started this project, we have implemented part of the requirements. We have already created traceability between with the model elements, the model, and the task and the test. So for example, here we have implemented the 3 first. 2 words on the example. It's in-flight entertainment system. So as you can see, when you are taking a plane, you have access to on board. You have access to video, game, music, movies, and each time there is the crew has something to tell you as a passenger. Then so it's stopped, suspended, and to have the onboard announcements, the crew announcements. So the first set, of course, it's a very simplified example project, of course, in terms of requirements and test. So we have here these 3 requirements about entertainment during flight. We have implemented these requirements through task. I will show you that in a few seconds. And we have started the design of the Capella model, and we have created links between these requirements and the Capella model. The integration does not impose any strict linking rules between requirements and test and model elements, sorry. But in that case, so we have found convenient to use these types of links. So you can create derived links between requirements and model elements. You can create derived links, satisfaction links, and refined links. These three links are actually standardized by the OSLC standard, okay, standardized by the OASIS consortium. So derived means, so I have my requirement or set of requirement in that case, and I explain more formally, and this is the purpose of modeling more formally into the model. So what means these requirements? I can I can link requirements to very detailed elements in the model, like diagrams, for example. Here you see scenarios. You can link requirements to operational capabilities. You can link requirements to capabilities. So these are the main entities, concepts used in the Arcadia method as supported in Capella. Okay, and okay, these requirements have been linked to these model elements, and we have also started the testing activities, and we have created a test plan made of test cases. These are the terms we use in our ELM solution, and you have, in that case, you have a test case for each requirement. So let's consider, so we have during the first phase of the project, we have implemented these set of requirements, these three requirements with these links with the model elements and test. I can show you what does it mean in the EWM service. So in the project planning, you have here the list of tasks. Currently, they are all done, completed, so they are strike through in the display, in the screen, to tell you, okay, so these tasks have been implemented, and you have links with requirements, with Capella models, and the same, you have direct access to more information as soon as you move the mouse over the blue text. And you have also links with test cases. Okay, so this is the current version of the project. Now I will implement a task. Create a task to implement a requirement. Okay, so we consider that we will implement this requirement, the first one. So I will create a task for this purpose. So I go there, I will create a task. Okay, implement here, audio announcement. Implement audio announcement. Okay, so I missed audio announcement. Okay. Broadcast. Fine. First action I need to do when I create a task is to set in that solution, and it's a very usual thing. So you need to set a priority. You need to assign the task to someone, to your developer. You can say, okay, I estimate the task to be implemented within a week, for example, and so on. So you can describe more precisely, of course, the content of the task, etc. We'll not spend too much time on that. And since we have already created a model elements, we have specified a set of requirements. We have created some model, so I can add links to first the requirements. Maybe it's easier to do it here. So okay, I will create the task here. The link, sorry, here. Link implemented by, and it's called announcements. Okay, the one I created. Okay. Now, of course, I have it here. I need to refresh the status. And I have the link between the requirement and my implementation task. I will switch the task to start working. Okay. So then I have a task in progress for implementing these requirements. I can also create a link to model elements directly here. So the link, it's elaborated by architecture element. So, and see, you are so in the ELM environment, but you are jumping to publication for Capella. You are going to another domain, but thanks to the OSLC unified protocol standard, you have access to external, I would say, external resources compared to the requirement and task and so on, the IBM ELM elements, to create links. So I select my okay, let me find a correct element. I will select the diagram, and there are something about announcement already created in the Capella model. So, and I will select first the first element, which is, can you clarify FS, Laurent?
Yes, it's a functional scenario.
Okay, so what can we explain behind this functional scenario? To have
see the diagram.
A diagram. Okay.
And it's an exchange function exchange scenario.
Okay, it's an exchange scenario. It explains actually so what is expected or what needs to be implemented regarding these requirement. I can, so this link has been created with the task. I can, so it means that I have it. It is available in my planning now, as you can see. Okay, I can, and this is recommended. You know, we recommend also to do the same for the requirement. So same process, same dialogue. And I will select the same model element. So to have a complete full traceability where everything is connected, requirements, task, and model elements. Okay, so okay, it is being displayed. Maybe I have created my task, link this task to the requirements and the high-level model elements. Okay, now stage 3. I should update the model in order to implement the requirement I have selected in that sprint. And then I need to create the links of this enriched model with with the rest of the elements in the project, in particular with the test. Okay. Okay, so these are the link. For sake of simplicity, for sake of simplicity, we consider that so the model has been modified, enriched by the design team. It has been published with, okay, it has been published in the publication for Capella server, and then I have this new version here. Okay, so consider, so we have a new version now, and I may create links with new elements in that model. For example, I will create a link, a refined link. Okay, a refined link with from the requirements to the new version of the model. For example, I will create a link from the requirement to a new diagram that has been created during that this stage. So this one. Okay, so we are refreshing all the links with the task, with the test, and with the model elements with Capella here. So we should have it soon. Okay. So it takes some time.
Yeah, I'm guessing your video stream and webinar stream is consuming a lot of bandwidth for you because it's much faster usually.
Yes, that's right. Yes, okay. In addition, so I have the camera, I have the video. Okay. We may expect to have it soon. Okay, what else? I can show. Yeah, so I don't have, so the bandwidth is constraint with the video. What I wanted to do now. So I have created, so it will appear at the end. I have created links between the requirements, new model elements that have been implemented at the design stage in that sprint. And I want to now, I will show you that links. If I click on the link, you can see here, I click on the Capella element, and we have also in the publication for Capella server the information and the links, the link information. So this element, which is an operational capability, so linked to other parts of the model, that has also an external links to the requirements, right? So you can navigate from ELM to Capella, publication for Capella, and you can go back, navigate from publication for Capella to ELM. These are the backlinks. Okay, we have done the stage 3, and now we'll move to stage 4, where we need to validate what has been developed according to the new requirements and the model, the design that has been implemented in Capella. Okay, these are all the links. So the test I have prepared tests, so I consider that I have prepared, updated my test plans in accordance with what has been implemented in DORSNext and in Capella. So here are my test plan, my test cases. I can show you. Sorry. Okay, here is the test plan, the verification and validation plan for the IVE project product. We have we have a plan for a test plan for validating these documents, specification document, and we can go into details and see how the test cases in that test plan are validating, testing the different requirements of the specified for this document. Okay, so this is why is it? It's here. Sorry. Okay, the test plan is here. What is the new? I will open again the requirements. Let me open the requirements. No item found. Okay, here, up. The requirements. So I want to be sure that I am considering the correct requirement. So the requirement was this one. The broadcast of an audio announcement must interrupt all streams. Okay, so must interrupt all streams. So this is this is the test associated to this requirement, right? And I will create also. Okay, I have created, so already done. Links to the architectural elements, to the Capella elements. Okay, you have a link to the exchange scenario, and which is here. So so the test you need to describe should be compliant with these two diagrams, ideally. So you have an exchange scenario, and here you have flow scenario. Okay. So I'm not sure. So no. So I would create, normally I should create a script implementing these scenarios, and I should run this scenario. But there is something nice in our solution. You can create a result without having to do it actually. So it's not good, of course, but I can create a result without executing, and I can consider it's passed, for example, finished. So I have executed my test. I consider so the test was okay. So now I have it here. If I refresh my view, and okay, if I refresh my view for this requirement, you see that there is a test case, and we see here that it's green. This test has been successfully passed. Okay. I refresh here, and I can create also for these task, I can create a link to the test case. The test case was about announcement, if I'm right. Yes. Interrupt all streams. So, here I click and OK. Save. So, back to my scenario. I have prepared the test campaign for validating this development, and I have run the test case. And now we will conclude the demonstration so I will show you all the different views that are viable in our solution in order to have a global view on the traceability between requirements, model elements, task, and task. So depending, so you have views depending on the service you are working with. So I will start with, for example, the project planning. So I will select my plan. Okay, and I see that, okay, let me links. Okay, so I have forgotten to save the link I created. So I redo it again. Announcement here. Okay, save. Fine. Plan. Back to the plan to have a global view of the sprint. Okay. So this is the result of the sprint or the progress of the project. So these are all the tasks that have been completed, the links with requirements, with architecture element, with test cases. So these boxes are empty, but of course I can create, I would have to create links before. These are the new tasks. These are the requirements that the task has implemented. These are the model elements from the Capella model that have been developed in the context of this task. This is the test cases. There is just one here that validate, verify the results, the development. What can be done? So I can export the model, this table. Okay, here I will open the table with a spreadsheet. Okay. So this is the output, the report. Here are the tasks. Here are the linked requirements. Here are the architectural elements, linked architectural elements. Here are the test cases. Of course, so here, since this is very simple, we have just 4 tasks. So it's a very simple table, but of course, on a real project, you will have many hundreds of lines with tasks, with requirements, and so on. You can have this traceability here, of course, in the those next service, where you can have filters. You can just show how your comments have been implemented, how your comments are tested, and how your requirements have been implemented in the design, or like this. So there is a big table where you have all these links all together. I think that I have presented all the things I wanted to present. Right. Okay. So Laurent.
Okay, then I will take back control and I will share my screen. again. Okay, so a quick sum up to clarify what we've seen. And first, before summarizing everything, I just wanted to give a few words about the roadmap of publication for Capella. We have a number of topics of interest that are identified, and namely, they are miscellaneous user interface, user experience improvements, such as adding a model tree in the HTML pages, improving the form to search for an object to link. You've seen this form several times in the demonstration. It would be useful to be able to find an element in a diagram or in the model tree rather than just the existing form to search. So miscellaneous UI improvements. We also have interest for several other improvements, like improving the reporting capabilities to include linked Capella model elements within IBM ELM, or support the global configuration of IBM ELM, which is currently not supported. We have identified that we need, of course, to keep all versions of models unpublished, because for the moment we do not deal with version management in team for Capella, in publication for Capella, sorry. We would like to offer reporting capabilities when we publish a new version of a model to indicate which links might be impacted by a publication, so that users can review these links and validate whether the changes have an impact on them or not. One of the major features that we have in mind as well is supporting model review. This has been requested a number of times, so we know it's of interest to the community, and so on and so forth. So these topics of interest are identified. Maybe there should be others, and we are working on prioritizing them. And you can influence this roadmap by providing your feedback, your topics of interest, your priorities, and if possible, by funding OBU and or persistent IBM development tasks, which we call accelerated development. So if you are interested, feel free to reach out to us, of course. So now for the sum up, what you should take away from today's presentation. First, the integration capabilities. This tooling makes it possible to create links between any ELM element and any Capella model element. So that's really any element. There is no restriction here. The tool is process neutral. You will have to decide and use your own process. The tool will not bring and enforce a specific process. The links are always created from IBM ELM to Capella model elements and not the other way around, but they can be navigated from both sides back and forth. All that is available off the shelf with IBM ELM 6 or 7. There is no need for an extra add-on on the IBM ELM side, but of course you need to buy publication for Capella, which is a product sold by OBU, and which supports Capella 1.3 to 5, that is to say all the versions since Capella 1.3. Okay, that's all for the summary. And now we are ready to answer your questions. So I will now move to the Q&A window and see if there are already any questions. Here I have the chat. How can I find?
I don't see any questions right now.
I saw one earlier when you were presenting.
Otherwise, would it be possible to open the microphone for the attendees?
I don't think so, but I can. I will find the window we are talking about. I will just stop sharing my screen for a few seconds to find it. Okay, so I have the Q&A right here. The first question was about how we had made the links between the ELM, IBM ELM, and Capella. So IFE system requirements linked to SA modeling. Did you link operational or customer requirements to operational analysis? So to tell the truth, we haven't been very thorough in defining rules on how to link IBM ELM elements to Capella model elements. We have defined a few conventions together with Philippe when we were preparing this webinar, so that the demonstration would be logical and make sense. But as we said earlier, there is no enforced process, and you can define links between whatever you want to whatever you want. So we have been making decisions on linking some kinds of requirements to some kinds of diagrams and test cases to other kinds of diagrams, but that's really just a choice we have made arbitrarily for this demonstration and nothing more. I hope this answers Patrick's question. And the second question is from Carsten Pitts, and it is, how do you version baseline Capella models? And unfortunately, the answer to this question is, well, that's simple. We do not version Capella models. We do not support yet the IBM ELM global configuration concept, and that is something that is identified in the roadmap, not prioritized yet. So we are aware of this limitation, and for the moment, at the time of the publication to the server, when you publish a Capella model, you have to decide whether you override an existing model or publish the model as a new model independent of the first one. But we do not yet manage versions of models published to the server. That will be implemented in a future version of the tool. Thank you, everybody, for your attention. And I hope you have learned something useful today. And feel free to consult our website if needed and reach out to us if you have any more questions. And with that, I wish everybody a good day. Goodbye, and thank you.